This is the stupidest rule I've ever heard in my life. So you mean to tell me that they can go make money and be professional athletes in another country as long as they don't sign an NBA contract and come back and play against 17, 18-year-old kids? Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to another episode of the X Factor Sports Podcast. This is your host, Jay Mondaine. Happy New Year. Appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. We are on YouTube every Wednesday night. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the X Factor Sports Podcast. We got a great show for y'all tonight. Episode 111. We're going to get into the NFL. Week 18 is coming up this weekend, so we're going to give y'all our final power rankings. You don't want to miss that segment. Also, the NBA. We're past Christmas, so these dudes about to start hooping. So we got to give y'all our current NBA contenders and our current NBA pretenders. All right. These are teams that they have an over 500 record, but I don't think they want no smoke. They're not going to see it all the way through in the playoffs. They won't be a threat. Then the last segment, we're going to get into a special bet that segment. We got a 4-leg parlay for the college football playoff that starts tonight. So before we get into all that, of course, we got to get into the layup lines, the quick news. So let's go ahead and get that going. We're going to start in the NBA with Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets. Avoided a catastrophic injury to his knee. They were hoping that it wasn't a ligament tear anywhere. It wasn't, just a hyperextended knee. He is going to be out at least 4 weeks as a precaution. They want to make sure that the franchise player is good to go. So big blow for the Denver Nuggets because they already got Cam Johnson out. He's hurt. They got a bunch of other starters that have been out. Aaron Gordon's been out most of the year. So been a tough go at it for Denver, even though Jokic has been pulling them along. He had a 55-point triple-double on Christmas. So he would have made them a contender for sure if he'd have stayed healthy. But with this injury, thankfully, it's just a hyperextension and not a ligament tear. All right, so we'll see how Denver fights through, weathers the storm with Nikola Jokic out. And we got college basketball. Okay, have y'all been paying attention to what's going on? Baylor signed this kid who was drafted in the NBA draft in 2023, James Nnaji. He didn't sign an NBA contract. He ended up playing overseas, G League, for a couple of years. And apparently this is legal in the NCAA. John Calipari went on a rant the other day about it. Obviously, he's not happy. Tom Izzo's not happy about it. This is kind of the beginning of the end for college basketball to me. I think this is why Coach K left. I think this is why Nick Saban left in football. They're seeing the writing on the wall of what the NCAA is becoming. And it's turning into the Wild West. The rules don't make any sense anymore, right? The administration is trying to say, well, as long as they don't sign an NBA contract and they've been out of high school within 5 years, they can come play college basketball. This is the stupidest rule I've ever heard in my life. So you mean to tell me that they can go make money and be professional athletes in another country as long as they don't sign an NBA contract and come back and play against 17, 18-year-old kids? So the lines have been completely blurred. College basketball is no longer an amateur sport. Okay, this is minor league now. They don't care about education. They don't care about the high school kids that are coming in trying to develop. It's about to be an arms race for who can find the best kid around the world now. As long as they're 23 years old, 22 years old, you can have them on your campus to try to win a national championship, which is crazy. So that's what's happening in college basketball. It's going way left. A lot of these veteran coaches despise it, for lack of a better term. And I wonder what's going to happen moving forward. But I feel sorry for the high school kids coming in because now they got to compete with grown men who've played professional basketball. And the only the only line that you don't cross, the only silver lining is that they didn't sign an NBA contract. Crazy. But that's the NCAA. They always flip-flop on rules. They never know what the hell they're doing. And this is just another this is just another case of that. All right? So in the NFL, the last thing we got on quick news, congratulations, Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald. They will be headlining the 2026 Hall of Fame next season. This is what I'm talking about. Last week, if you watched the show, we talked about Blake Griffin, if he's a Hall of Famer, if he isn't. He's going to get in, but I don't think he is a Hall of Famer. That's all I'm saying. These guys are Hall of Famers, right? You can't tell the story of football without these guys. They're the upper echelon at their sport and their position. Drew Brees has over 80,000 passing yards, right? I think his completion percentage is like over 70% for his career or something like that. Or he had a season where he was at like 74%. Like, those are the types of things. When you transcend the sport better than anybody else, when you're looking down on people based on what you accomplished, Super Bowl MVPs, right? What he did for New Orleans was Hall of Fame worthy enough anyway during Katrina times. Those types of things. When he was in San Diego, they thought his career was over with his shoulder. He resurrected his whole career and became a Hall of Famer in New Orleans. He's already a New Orleans Saint Hall of Famer or Ring of Honor or whatever they do for their franchise. But those are the types of things that Hall of Famers should be. Larry Fitzgerald, the same way. He's number 2 all time in receptions. I think he's top 5 all time in receiving touchdowns. Like, those are the types of things. When you put together a career, you see the individual accolades. He was a first-team All-Pro. He took a terrible Carolina team, franchise, him and Kurt Warner, to a Super Bowl back in 2008. Like, those types of things, the greatest of the great. That's all I'm saying, right? I know that Blake Griffin will get in the Hall of Fame. I'm just saying I don't think he should. And this is a prime example of the type of people that should be in the Hall of Fame. So congrats to these guys. They're headlining it. I have a inclination that they will be first ballot Hall of Famers. Also, Eli Manning is on it for the second time. Again, another guy that'll probably get in because he had 2 good playoff runs, but the rest of his career was trash, right? He is 500 in wins and losses. I think he led the league in interceptions multiple times, but he'll get in because he beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl and he had a good Super Bowl run. I talked about this last year. If y'all want to go back and look at some of my podcast episodes, when Eli Manning was up for first ballot Hall of Fame status, I talked about how I don't think he's a Hall of Famer too. So here at the X Factor Sports Podcast, you get real talk, unbiased takes, and consistency. I still don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he will eventually get in, though, because 1, he's a Manning, and 2, those 2 Super Bowls won't leave him out. It'll just take more time. All right. The X Factor Sports Podcast, we are on YouTube every Wednesday night, so be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight on this New Year's Eve. We are bringing in the new year strong with real talk, unbiased takes. All right. So let's get into it. We are at the last week of the regular season in the NFL. Week 18. We got some winner go home scenarios. We got some conference or division titles on the line. But before the games start on Saturday, I'm going to give you guys the final NFL power rankings going into the playoffs. So let's do it. Okay? And we changed the order around. So now you can see it. We're going to go down from 1 all the way to 10. At number 1, Seattle Seahawks. When we talk about what the Seattle Seahawks have done this season, inside of the United States, I'm not counting London or Germany games, they probably traveled more than any other team coming across to the East Coast and winning these games. They're 7-1 on the road. Sam Darnold, again, another 13-win season. He's in rarefied air with like Tom Brady's, Kurt Warner's, Brett Favre's, like back-to-back 13-win seasons. There aren't very many quarterbacks that have done that. So you got to salute Sam Darnold for doing that, going to an entirely new system. and turning them into a winner. They're the number one seed in the NFC currently on a 6-game win streak. They had a huge win against the Rams over Christmas break. Vegas won so much money off that game, I can't imagine. But pretty impressive at 13-3. They have a top 5 defense. And as we know in the playoffs, defense can travel. As long as Sam Darnold can keep it under control, they may do some damage. So they're at number 1. Number 2, the New England Patriots. Okay. They came out of nowhere. I know everybody is saying, oh, they had an easy schedule, weak schedule. It's the same conversation I hear from people on social media about the Bears. What are they supposed to do? Lose all the games? Like, y'all predicted these guys to be in last place regardless of the schedule. And now that they're good, we got to give this caveat, oh, they playing a weak schedule. They're playing the schedule that's in front of them. Next year, yes, there'll be a litmus test next year. But right now, the New England Patriots is one of the best teams in football, and Drake May might be an MVP, right? One of many second-year quarterbacks that have become MVPs. The last one to do it was Lamar Jackson in 2019. So he's having a hell of a year. Mike Vrabel's having a hell of a year coaching. And top 5 in passing and total yards with a second-year quarterback, undefeated on the road, right? So that's the thing. This is why we do power rankings. This ain't really about standings. It's about how these guys are winning, what these teams are doing. So if you watch ball, the fact that this team is young and they were the least talented team a year ago, to get all this put together and to have a second-year quarterback be 8-0 on the road at this point of the season is impressive. I don't care what the schedule is. It's still the NFL. You still have to go in other people's stadiums and win games. So they're impressive to me, and they've done that. All right. At number 3, Denver Broncos. Okay. Losing that game to Jacksonville at home hurt them a little bit. They probably would have been neck and neck with number 1 or number 2. But we got 2 other teams that's playing ball just as good, if not better. The Broncos are top 5 in defense, top 5 in sacks. So that defense is going to be good, which is crazy when you got an offensive coach. The fact that their defense is this good, but they got a defensive player of the year at corner. So that makes sense. They follow his lead. Still got to respect what they're doing all season. They are the number 1 seed in the AFC currently. That defense can travel, like I alluded to, but it may not have to travel. All roads may go through Mile High. If they beat the Chargers on Sunday, or they beat the Chargers this weekend, all roads may go through Mile High to get to a Super Bowl. So congrats to the Denver Broncos winning the AFC West title, the first time somebody other than the Kansas City Chiefs have won it in 10 years. So congrats to them. At number 4, the San Francisco 49ers. Did y'all watch that shootout against the Bears the other night? I'm not a moral victory guy, but the Bears, in my lifetime, if you told me the Bears were in a shootout, I'd have said, what college are they playing against? Because we've never had a good offensive team to go into shootouts in multiple games in one season. But shout out to the San Francisco 49ers, decimated with injury. Brock Purdy was in and out of the lineup. No George Kittle in that game. And they still have an opportunity to be the 1 seed in the NFC and have the NFC playoffs go through Santa Clara and the Super Bowl. They would host that too. So they got a lot to play for this weekend. If they get the 1 seed, they don't have to leave, which would be incredible. So shout out to the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan can make a case for coach of the year. The offense has been clicking these last couple weeks. Brock Purdy got 10 touchdowns in 2 games and some horrible Dougies. So congrats to the San Francisco 49ers. 6-game winning streak. They doing their thing. At number 5, this team should be feared by everybody in the AFC. The Houston Texans are on an 8-game winning streak. These guys have not lost a game since November 3rd. Right? They ain't lost in 2 months. This defense is for real. It's the best defense in football. And we know defense and running game can travel, especially in the playoffs. The only thing that gives me cause to pause of this team is they're a dome team. So if they got to go up to New England or they got to go out to Denver, that may be a problem. But teams should fear these guys, right? The way they force turnovers, that defensive line is one of the best in football, if not the best. After starting off 3-5, right? They just ran off 8 straight games. They're playing impressive football. They beat Jacksonville. They've put themselves in position to win the AFC South this weekend if Jacksonville loses. So I got them at the 5 spot currently. And then at number 6 is the team that's in the division with them, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They had a huge win up in Denver. Is this team for real? I keep asking myself, can we have faith in Trevor Lawrence? Is this team for real? I think the Jacksonville Jaguars surprised a lot of people this year. Liam Cohen, the new head coach, very similar to the number 7 team, the Bears, came out of nowhere, but they're playing good football. Trevor Lawrence is probably playing some of the best football he's played since he was in college. They're on a 7-game win streak. All right. Since their bye in week 8, their only loss is to Houston. So that tells you what they've been doing. So got the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 6. They got a chance to win the AFC South if they just win this weekend, right? So shout out to them. At number 7, the Chicago Bears. Okay. One of only 3 teams in the NFL with just 1 home loss. Again, this is a power ranking. So we got to talk about what these teams have been doing throughout the year. There are very few teams. There's only 3 teams in the NFL that's lost 1 home game. The Chicago Bears are one of them, which is great because if they win this weekend, they get home field advantage to the NFC title game, essentially, right? And nobody wants to come to Chicago in January and play football. So they have something to play for this weekend against Detroit. Caleb Williams can be the first quarterback in Bears history to throw for 4,000 yards. We predicted this would happen, so hopefully I look like a prophet this weekend. Started out 0-2, and they went 11-3 since then. The NFC North champions, they had a 13% chance to win the division before the season started. After their schedules came out, a 35% chance to make the playoffs, and was projected to win 8 games. So everything from this point for Bears fans is gravy. We got a bright future. If we get a pass rush, or we get a game wrecker, like a Max Crosby, you trying to come over here, or Myles Garrett, right? We give up draft picks for them. If we get something like that, if we can get an elite pass rush, the Chicago Bears would be in Super Bowl conversations. But that's the one hole I think they have to get to that next level. All right. At number 8, the Philadelphia Eagles. It's been kind of a down year statistically, but they're still finding ways to win games. You got to respect it. It's about wins and losses, okay? No matter how ugly the wins are, they went to Buffalo. That defense shut down the reigning MVP in Buffalo, held them to 12 points, right? Hate it or love it. This is a team that has championship medal. They're the defending champs, and they will be the defending champs until they lose or if they lose in the playoffs. So you got to respect it. They won the NFC East again. The first team to win back-to-back NFC East titles in 20 years. And I think they were the ones that did it back when Donovan McNabb and them played. So you got to give love to the Philadelphia Eagles. I got them at number 8. And the defense looks like it's getting better and better. Maybe Brandon Graham is starting to inject some of his life into the locker room coming out of retirement for these guys. But that offense, man, that offense gives me cause to pause. Jalen Hurts had another half of football where he did not complete a pass. That is concerning. So to win a championship, you got to move the ball down the field, my guy. So that's what we got. At number 9, the Buffalo Bills, the team they just beat. The Eagles just beat. Still Super Bowl contenders as long as Josh Allen is under center. Simple as that. He is the quarterback that I have the most faith in the AFC. The other quarterbacks are too young, too inexperienced. Josh Allen can win you a game on the road. He can win you at home. They can run the ball all game. He can throw for 285 yards. He can run for 3 touchdowns. They got James Cook. I still have faith in the Buffalo Bills to do well. This weekend will determine, based on matchups, where they land. If they fall to that 7 seed, I think they're in trouble. If they get to the 6 seed, they may have a path to get to the Super Bowl or to an AFC title game, and we'll talk about that next week once the seedings are final. At number 10, the LA Chargers. And I know a lot of people are going to say, Jay, how do you not have the Rams in your power rankings? All right, listen. You lose 2 games to the NFC South, you're not getting in the power ranking. Simple as that. For a team that has aspirations to win a Super Bowl, they drop a lot of games that they shouldn't drop, okay? So the Chargers on the flip side, again, this is a power ranking, not a standings ranking. Did you guys know the LA Chargers are the only team in the NFL that is undefeated in their division? Okay? I know the Denver Broncos won the division just by virtue of record, but the Chargers have not lost to anybody yet at this point. They're 5-0. And if they beat the Denver Broncos, they will be the only team that went 6-0 in their division this year. That's why we put them in the power rankings. They're playing good football, and Justin Herbert's playing with a broke hand. I know it's on his offhand, but he still has to scramble. He still has to hold the ball. He still gets sacked. He has to land on that hand. There's a lot of things he still does with the left hand, and he's battling through. I know the respect is through the roof in that locker room for Justin Herbert for gutting it out, giving these guys a chance, giving these guys a chance to make a run in the playoffs. So that is the top 10 power rankings. Y'all let me know what y'all think. We got the Seahawks at number 1. We have the New England Patriots at 2, Broncos at 3, the 49ers at 4, the Houston Texans, the team that everybody should fear in the AFC at 5, Jacksonville Jaguars at 6, the Chicago Bears at 7. We got the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending champs, at 8, the Buffalo Bills at 9, and the LA Chargers at 10. Go ahead and comment below. Let me know what you think about the power rankings, who should be where, or if this is a good one. All right. The X Factor Sports Podcast is on YouTube every Wednesday night, so be sure to like, share, and subscribe. You can also catch the audio on any platforms that you like to listen to podcasts. So that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, everywhere. Catch up to all 111 episodes there, or if you like seeing his face, you can check us out on YouTube. All right. Now let's get into the NBA. So we passed Christmas already. So now these guys are about to start playing some ball. Now we're about to start seeing who separates themselves going into the All-Star break in February. These are the dog days of the year. A lot of games will get dropped. This is a bettor's nightmare. So if y'all betting on games, be careful, especially teams that have to travel cross country in January in the cold. Beware of those games. But we do have some contenders and pretenders we need to talk about. So we're going to go ahead and start with the NBA contenders at this point of the season. All right. And we're going to start with OKC, obviously the defending champs. Still been dominant all season. It looks like they're kryptonites to San Antonio Spurs, but they are a true contender. Anytime you're a defending champ and you come out the gate 24-1, you're serious about what you got going on. I think they want to repeat, obviously. So with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and with J-Dub back healthy, Chet Holmgren, they can start to form into a big three, get ready for the second half of the season. The New York Knicks, all right, this is an official Eastern Conference contender. Shout out to Mike Brown. He's playing more of the bench. They got depth. He understands what the 82-game marathon is about. You got to get your bench players in, get some trust in them, and give some rest to your starters, right? So they're not logging all these minutes and then they're gassed come April. So after winning the NBA Cup, I think the Knicks showed the world that they can play in high leverage games. They seem to be the one team that can figure out Wemby and beat them. But the Knicks are true contenders in the Eastern Conference. Then we got the San Antonio Spurs, obviously with Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, that 1-2 punch. Stephon Castle bullies every guard that tries to guard him. I love it. He's got some UConn toughness in him. And I think that's rubbing off on everybody else as well, including Wemby. And this Spurs team looks great. I mean, Greg Popovich might still be in the building. He may still be preaching. Obviously, his coaching tree is great. So with the new head coach, they got something going. They believe that they are the best team in the NBA. And why shouldn't they? They beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 3 times in 12 days. right? I would say that they're true contenders, right? Then we got the Detroit Pistons. Detroit Pistons, they're the number one seed in the East. The rebuild is over. The project is over, all right? It's time for Cade, Jaden Duran, and these guys to put their flag in the Eastern Conference and say, we are the best team in the East. No, it's not Cleveland. No, it's not anybody else. It's us and the Knicks. We are the two best teams. We're going to show everybody it's not Philly. Any of these other teams that y'all think it may be, Boston may be down this year, but they still winning games. But the Detroit Pistons, they play tough basketball. The last 5 minutes of games, Cade Cunningham makes the right decisions. They look like a team that is building towards something. J.B. Bickerstaff has been a great coach everywhere he's been, so I'm not surprised. And then that last one, the Houston Rockets. This is my dark horse contender. And to be perfectly honest with y'all, if Jokic didn't get hurt, it would have been Denver in here instead of Houston. But because Jokic is about to miss a month, they're going to lose some games. And it ain't going to be pretty. So I think Houston leapfrogs them. I like the chemistry they got. They need to figure out this point guard situation. But Amen Thompson is growing. He's getting more comfortable in the role. And with Kevin Durant and with Şengün, when he's healthy, they're hard to stop. They can go anywhere and win games. Kevin Durant's seen it all, done it all. So because of that, and they play good defense. When you play good defense, you got a veteran superstar that ain't scared of nobody, you always have a chance. So that's why I got them as my dark horse contender coming out the West. All right. Then the pretenders. So the pretenders are the teams that, like I said in the opener, they're above 500. They're hit and miss, but I don't believe them, right? It's fool's gold to me, okay? And so here are our pretenders going into the new year. The LA Lakers, all right? When JJ Redick has to get on you about playing hard, you're not a contending team, period. Y'all can blame whoever y'all want. Y'all can point the finger at LeBron being 41. Everybody knew he was going to turn 41, right? Luka looked like he getting back out of shape. Austin Reeves, if you got to depend on Austin Reeves to give you 25 a night, I'm sorry, I can't see you as a championship contending team, right? He's never seen double teams before. He's never had a scouting report focused solely on him in the NBA. So that is going to be a new task altogether. You're going to get everybody's best wing defender will be on you or Luka. So it's a new experience. So yes, they're over 500. I don't believe in the rest of this roster. They just piecemeal it together. So it's going to be a lot of frustration, a lot of JJ Redick wanting these guys to play harder. And we'll see what happens during these dog days of the NBA season leading up to the All-Star game. But the Lakers are pretenders. The next one, the Toronto Raptors. If you look at the standings, the Raptors are above 500. But do we really believe that they're going to be a threat in the playoffs? No. Right? I like Scotty Barnes. I like Brandon Ingram. I like these guys. I like RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quigley. I like watching these guys play. But when we talk about playoff contention, I don't see them winning I don't see them winning a 7-game series against the top of the Eastern Conference, right? They look like a play-in team to me. So they're going to be battling for that 7-8 spot the rest of the year. They may sneak into the playoffs, but then congratulations, you get in the playoffs. You get Detroit or the Knicks in the first round. So I don't see anything happening there. Then the Cleveland Cavaliers. What the hell happened to this team? From last year to this year, I don't know if they got shell-shocked from losing in the playoffs, but it has trickled over to this season. The expectations were through the roof of this team, and they are not showing up. I don't know if Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland can play together. I don't know what it is. Jared Allen has been in and out of the lineup. I don't know what's going on with this team, but they do not look the same from last year. They do not look like a contending team, and until so, I have to keep them as pretenders. The Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns are the Toronto Raptors of the Western Conference. I don't know if it's a coincidence. They both wear purple. I don't know what it is. But again, you look at the standings, the Phoenix Suns are winning basketball games, right? Devin Booker is playing well, right? Dylan Brooks is showing everybody that he can actually play offense and irritate you, which is great. They have an identity, but they're just not talented enough to compete at the highest level. So again, they'll win games. They'll battle for a play-in spot, but they're not real contenders, right? So don't let the record fool you. I don't think the Phoenix Suns are going anywhere fast. And then the Philadelphia 76ers, last but not least. Between the injuries, age, attrition, I feel bad for Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. Like, they are the two bright stars on that team. They have a future, but you can't rely on Joel Embiid every night. You can't rely on Paul George every night. They may show flashes of great games. Joel Embiid had a great game the other night, but he may have 3 or 4 bad games, right? Because he can't stay healthy. His knees are done. He's holding on to too much weight. Unfortunately, that's what's happened to him in his career. But the Philadelphia 76ers are above 500, so people will look and say, look at the Sixers, right? They got a chance. This is why they're called pretenders, dog. Like, it looks good on paper. They can win some games. They have some veteran, old superstars, aging superstars, but it's going to fall on deaf ears, unfortunately. They're going to probably be a 5 or a 6 seed. They're going to match up with a team that plays really good defense and put them in a half court because they're a good transition team. They're going to play against a team in the playoffs. They may run into Boston in the first round, and that'll be all she wrote. So there you have it. Those are our pretenders and contenders for the NBA as it sits right now going into the new year. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Be sure to comment below. Tell me who you think the contenders and pretenders are. If I got them wrong or right, be sure to comment. All right? Now, every Wednesday night, you can check us out, the X Factor Sports Podcast. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Be sure to follow the X Factor Sports Podcast. We're always on YouTube. We're always on any audio platform, and you can catch the reels if you follow me on social media as well. Cool? Okay. Now we're going to get into our special segment of Bet That. This is a college football playoff. The game's going on right now, so hopefully you got your bets in. I put my bet in yesterday, but I at least want to give y'all the 4-leg parlay. You can obviously do live bets too. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay? College football playoff. Tonight, right now as we speak, we got Miami and Ohio State playing. The spread is 9.5. I'm taking the Ohio State Buckeyes to cover this spread. I know it's a crazy high spread. Up until that Indiana game, Ohio State beat everybody by double digits all season long. The defense is incredible. They got healthier because they haven't played in a couple weeks, right? They're pissed off. They're ready to get on the field and show why they should be the number one team. So give me them just based on emotion and based on what they've done, their body of work, beating everybody by double digits. I'm taking Ohio State to cover the 9.5. Then tomorrow, the rest of the games come on, the New Year's games, Oregon at Texas Tech. I'm going to take Texas Tech straight up. I think this is going to be a good game, but I like Texas Tech's defense. I think they come out and play tough. I don't know if Oregon has run into a defense like this other than what Indiana came up and did to them up in Eugene. But I like what the Texas Tech Red Raiders are doing. They spent a lot of money to get this defense, so we're going to see if it can show up and show out. They've been underrated all season, so I got Texas Tech in the trenches, making this an ugly football game and coming out straight up with a win. Then we got Alabama and Indiana. Okay. Last week I was telling y'all I think Alabama's going to win this game, but for the purposes of betting, for them to be 7-point dogs, I'm going to take Alabama to cover the spread, okay? I don't think this Alabama team is going to lose by a touchdown for a couple reasons. One, they got one game under their belt. Two, they play in big games every week, right? This is the biggest game in the history of the University of Indiana. So the way these players have had time to let that sink into their head psychologically, I would be surprised if they come out and beat Alabama by more than a touchdown, if they win at all. So give me Alabama. This is another Saturday night game in the SEC for the Crimson Tide. I don't think they get beat by a touchdown. I'm going to take Alabama to cover that spread. And then last but not least, Ole Miss and Georgia. Last week I talked about this is the game where they will need Lane Kiffin the most. Now, I didn't take the spread, but I am going to take Georgia to win straight up with the money line. Why? It's an SEC game. We've all seen these conference games. Everybody thinks it's going to be a shootout. It'll be 13-10 in the fourth quarter. Everybody thinks it's going to be a defensive battle. It's 32-35 in the fourth quarter. Like you never know what's going to happen in these SEC type games, right? All these guys are used to playing in big games. I just think Georgia's the better football team, and I believe in Kirby Smart. So for that reason, I'm taking Georgia straight up. All right. So that's the money line. That's what we got for Bet That. This segment of 4-leg parlay. We are taking 9 and a hook with Ohio State tonight. We're also taking Texas Tech on the money line. Battle in the trenches. I think they get it done. Indiana and Alabama. The game will be too big for Indiana. They might mess around and lose, but they definitely won't win by a touchdown. Give me Alabama to cover. Last but not least, Georgia, Ole Miss, good old-fashioned SEC type game. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs on the money line. All right? So be sure to comment below. Let me know what you think. If you took those bets, again, when I give y'all these picks, these are bets that I really make. And now that I'm finally in a state where I can sit on my couch and make these bets, there ain't a happier guy than me. All right? Cool. So before we get up out of here, we're going to get in a 2-minute warning. And this was a good one. Shout out to Vic Mensa. If y'all don't know, hip-hop artist from Chicago. I follow a lot of his stuff, a lot of things that he reads about and teaches about. He's got some good stuff. So this one is being paraphrased, but it makes sense to me, and I always spin it and translate it to what I think it is. So that's what we're doing for this 2-minute warning. And this week, we're going to talk about not equating what you do with who you are. Okay? So what does that mean? Just because you do something, that doesn't mean it should define you. Okay? If you have a job and you're doing poorly at your job, that doesn't mean you're a poor person or a bad person. If you lose your job, that doesn't mean you lose your identity, right? You are not what you do. Okay? And I think a lot of people get caught up in that cycle. You know, they want these social media followers, especially kids. They get caught up in this, nobody likes me. I didn't get enough likes on my social media, so nobody likes me. Your social media is what you do. The content that I create is the content I create, right? It's not who I am, but I enjoy doing it. I want people to follow and watch it, sure, but I'm not going to let it define who I am as a person, right? Because I live in reality, okay? So many people feel like that when they place their self-worth, when you place your self-worth on your ability to provide or do something, that's a failure method, okay? So don't place your self-worth on your abilities to do things. Place your self-worth in yourself, okay? That's what it's supposed to be about. So just because you have things going on or you have these things, it doesn't define who you are. Even billionaires, okay, you have a lot of money, but that doesn't, what kind of person are you? You can still be a jackass. Just because you got a lot of money, that doesn't mean that you're a good person, right? So I know it gets hard to kind of separate those things, but we got to be cognizant of the fact that you can't let these material things define who you are. And once you are able to do that, that's when you can start opening your eyes to the real world and to real life and get a sense of freedom from within. All right. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to the X Factor Sports Podcast. We're on YouTube every Wednesday night. Again, be sure to like, share, subscribe. This is the last episode of 2025. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me all year. It's been a great year. We're going to be bigger and better in 2026. If you like the gear, we still got holiday gear. Go ahead and check us out. Shout out to my man Snooch Customs. He's back healthy. So we got t-shirts coming in. We got 4 different color t-shirts coming in. We got black, gray, blue, and red for 2026. So you can hit the QR code or you can hit me up on social media. Let me know your size. We'll get those out to you. All right. Again, thank y'all for tuning in to episode 111 of the X Factor Sports Podcast, season 10, episode 3. Next week, we are going to dive into the NFL playoffs. I am going to predict who makes it to the championship games. Actually, let me back up. I'm going to predict who's going to the Super Bowl. All right. Once week 18 is over and we got the NFL tournament set up, we will put a bracket up and I'm going to predict who goes to the Super Bowl from the NFC and the AFC. Last year we were right. We picked the Chiefs and the Eagles. Let's see if we can do it 2 years in a row. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. This is Mondaine signing out. Happy New Year. Be safe. Appreciate y'all. Peace.